Hini hotu lapuya akawitiki, and welcome to the telling of the Tunica Flood Myth. A chief had 2 daughters, and they were grinding corn. And as they were grinding corn, there was an icicle above their head that was melting and forming a puddle at their feet. The chief saw this, so he sent for the elder man of the village. And the elder man of the village said, that's a good sign. Good hunting, good fishing. Some of the people in the town laughed at the old man. The chief wasn't happy with just hearing that, so he went to the way far end of the village, and an older lady, and she was blind, but she said, bring me there, and I'm going to put my hand in that opening, that hole, and I'm going to tell you. So they went to get the older lady. They brought her there, and she put her hand in the opening. She says, there's going to be a great flood. There were minnows swimming about in that puddle. She knew there's going to be a great flood, and you must build a vessel to escape the rising waters. Some of the people in the town laughed at both the older man and the older lady, but some people took the elder lady's advice and built a vessel, and they escaped the rising waters. Those who did not, they went into the water, and they became half man, half fish. Now I'm going to read to you the flood myth as according to the Tunica text. Tachahak katunach ukrish uni sar ilin tomu sinani. In the house where the chief lived, his 2 daughters would pound corn. Tachahak ukrich ka eheni. The chief's house was unfloored. Ashusak lahonitok nara sinach tomu hinu sinani. One day they arose very early and bustled about, pounding corn. Hinyatich kata tahakatatomu ukkalisintach haka helun ya arani. A shallow hole had been made where they set the mortar. Hinyatich lohonitok narasinach tahakatatomu ukkalin one yasinach kata tahakatatomu. Ukkalisintach posinachet tahaka helun kichu lichan yak arani. They got up early and were about to set the mortar in its place, but when they looked, the shallow hole was getting wet. Tarite lachu hayit posinach tatoraki hara uk unani. When they looked at the edge of the roof, they saw that ice had frozen there. Tarite lachu hayit choluk unani kata tahakatatomu uk kalisintach. It was dripping from the edge of the roof into where they usually set the mortar. Tawishi wichi arani tahaka kichu. The water was rising in the hole. Tanini tosinima te wesa siteni tahaka kichu. There were minnows jumping about in the hole. Hinyatich tatorakik uweni sinach yaru sinane. When they discovered the ice, they were puzzled. Hinyatich uhayik uwali sinach nara yaka povich yarukoni. They called the old man, and when he got up and came to look, he was puzzled. Hachet kanak inyu katik achang nikoni. What is going to happen to us now, he said. Hinyatich uk onisema hot akupan ukeni. He gathered all of his people together. Hinyatich uk onisema yakapo katani his people came and looked. Hinyatich, tanini tosini ma te hila siteni. The minnows were moving about. Kata tahakatatomu ukalisintach, tahoka helun, kichu tawishi wichik arani. The water was rising in the hole where they had set the mortar. Hinyatich toniseman kakupang kanak siyuka tik acha serus ahani. His people didn't know what was going to happen to them. Hinyatich uhaye saku yan ukene. One old man spoke. Tawishi namu yakatich tanini lapuya sakitich acha nikone. A whole lot of water is coming, and we will eat well of fish, he said. Hinakushkan tachohak lapuya orusan yawan yakone. Nevertheless, the chief intended to find out thoroughly. Hinyatich tonayi toch acheni talukin hotush. There was an old woman living at the edge of town. Tihayechi kashi putik ahani. She was so old she was blind. Hinyatich tachohak dime halukeni. The chief sent them to get her. Hinyatich uk onisema am ontach dinashi yakatani. His people went off and came back, bringing her with them. Hinyatich tachohak tiyana kone. The chief spoke to her. Tik yana kone. Hinyatich kakupan orusaha kanaka in yukatik acha heman herusakate nikoni. No one knows what's going to happen to us. You might be able to find out, he said. Hinyatich u pakak atani. She answered him. Kata tahoka helunch iken kitapench erusa kashi yatikacha nikateni. If I put my hand in the hole, I should be able to find out truly, she said. Hinyatich tahoka rapang tinashi yukatani. So they took her near the hole. Rapang. Kata tahaka heluch kita pitich tanin tosinima tewesa siteni. When she put her hand in the hole, the minnows were jumping about, they said. Hinyatich hakaliyang akeni. Then she stood up and spoke. Kali. Erite mashuwit ich yayi witik acha nikateni. If you make a large boat, you will be saved, she said. Hinyatich taherite mashutach hikichung aka ukantani. When they had built the boat, they got it in and sat down. Hinyatich akish tepuna sema hipuna arani. The remaining half of the people were dancing. Hinyatich hipunarach tahal chet ak atani. They danced and until the land began to sink. Hinyatich tonisema ta erite kichun uk era sema hopok katani. The people who were in the boat were looking out. Tahal shlamita yak arani. The ground was getting mushy. Tawishich wichik arani. The water was rising. Hinyatich taheritech por akeni. The boat floated. Hinyatich hishtahan huipuna arani. They were still dancing. Hinyatich tawishi wichik atani. The water was still rising. Hinyatich tonisemang taherite kichu uk era semang. Sihitich tawishi kichu potach hotun tonisema akish hipunara. Semang nin atepang onatepang sin pir akeni. The next day when the people in the boat looked out in the water, all the rest of the people who had been dancing had turned into half fish, half people. Onatepang, ninatepang, onatepang. Half fish, ninatepang. onatipang, half people. Tawishi hayitan wesa siteni. Wesa, they were jumping about. Wishi, water. Hinyatich takuwatok hayishi nara katoni. Takuwatok, the birds. Nara, they were flying above. Hayishi. Namu, kistok patasitach tawishich. Many got tired and fell into the water. Inyatich, tachuchu hinak, taparush, tapin so ukeni. However, the red-headed woodpecker caught hold of the sky and hung there. Hinyatich, tawishich, ashat, hatena, otach, tawishich, usa, pahuak, hinak, achat, hinyatich, siwo, sus, noni. The water whipped and washed his tail and his wings. Otari, asa, usa, otari, his wing. Therefore today they are striped. Wosu, stripe. Hinyatich uwin, taparush tap unane. He remained there holding on to the sky. Hinyatich tachu chuhinak kanak hatap ukiwich laponi. When the red-headed woodpecker catches hold of something, laponi. It is good, they say. Lapu. Tawishich haria yakatich taparu rapang hana akeni. When the water got nearly as high as the sky, it stopped. Hinyatich tawishich yar atach tachu chu hinak hatika hun ukeni. When the water receded, he came down again. Honu. To come down, to descend. Tawishich yar atach talhalch hopitich tarherit ech tahaltan hana akeni. When the water receded, the land appeared and the boat came to rest on the ground. Hinyatich taherite kich hopi antani. They got out of the boat. Hinyatich toniseman hatikan tahal hayit uk antani. Once again, people dwelt on earth. Hinyatich hatikan toniseman ran antani. Once again, they raised offspring. Hinakan toniseman yai antani yayi saved. It was thus that the people were saved. Hotuti